So yeah, when I handed this key over to the dealer back in 2015 when I traded in my 2015, I never thought I would see it again, but I guess it's just funny how things work out sometimes. It's what you all been waiting for, ain't it? What is up, guys? Alright, so this here was my 2015 Mustang GT Performance Pack that I custom ordered back in 2014 when the S550 first was released. And I actually traded this car in back in 2015 when the GT350 came out. So I'm sure you guys are probably wondering how the heck I have it here today, and that is kind of a funny story. About 6 months or a year after I traded this car in, I was headed to Cars and Coffee with a buddy of mine, and he was meeting up with this guy. And as soon as he pulled in, I immediately recognized it as my car. He had the windows down, and I recognized the interior right away. I ordered the car with these gorgeous Redline Recaro seats. And even more rare than that option to see was these full red door cards that you see here only really came on early model 2015s that had the red line option. Later on they changed these door cards out to just like a red stitched option. So I immediately knew that this was the car that I traded in. And I later ended up becoming friends with the guy, and he doesn't really work on his own stuff, so anytime he has anything to do to the car, he normally brings it to me. So today we're going to be installing an MGW shifter on the car. So in a second here I'll get the car pulled into the garage, and then we can start installing that MGW shifter on it. It's not going to be like a detailed step-by-step install video or anything like that, but if there's anything that I run into, maybe I can give you guys a couple tips. But mostly it'll just kind of be a time-lapse install and an overall, review somewhat of the shifter itself. Let me show you guys. Well, maybe I can actually, I'll just crank it up for you guys so you can hear it. Sounds pretty good. So it has a Flowmaster, I believe it's the Outlaw axle back on it, and then it has an H-pipe resonator delete. And a while back we did these RGB gills and stuff on there, so that's pretty sweet. And then he added, after I traded it in, he did the GT350 look-alike front bumper and all that stuff. This was the same car that I actually had those 20-inch niche wheels that you've seen on the 2018, that I still have those wheels. This was the car that I had those wheels custom made for. So yeah, guys, I love this car. I miss this car a lot. I wish I could buy it from him. And anytime that he brings it over, I always get kind of excited because, like I said, this was the first car. This was my first ever brand new car, so it kind of means a lot to me. Put the Roush wing on there. I did that before I traded it in. At the time, that was kind of like, there wasn't a lot of wing options for the S550, and at the time, I thought it was the best looking wing. Later on, I came to decide that I think the GT350 track pack wing is the best looking wing on the S550, but nevertheless, I'm going to get the car pulled into the garage and then we can get started on this MGW install. Alright guys, so before we even get started, let's take a look at the stock shifter firmness and see. That's in neutral there, so you can see how it is. That's just kind of showing you the centering spring. It's pretty loose. And then stick the clutch in, throw it in gear. So that's in first gear there, and you could see an enormous amount of slop there. So hopefully the MGW cleans that up quite a bit. Going into second, you could see a ton of slop, and then third gear, it just, I mean, there's a lot of, that's second when you're throwing third. That's all that slop between second and third gear is ridiculous. So I'm sure the MGW will clean that up a lot, but that kind of shows you before we even touch anything what it's like with the stock shifter. Alright guys, so the first thing we're going to do is start on the interior and get the shift knob off and the middle console out and all that stuff prepared, and then we'll move on to underneath the car. Alright guys, so we got everything that we needed to do done on the inside of the car. Got the middle console taken out, shift knob removed, reverse lockout, shifter boot, all that stuff's removed. So now we just need to get the car jacked up and then start working on it from underneath. Alright guys, so here we are underneath the car. It's going to be hard to get good shots for you guys under here, but I still want to kind of give you guys an idea of what's going on. If you look right above the drive shaft here, there's the shifter. And then the first thing you want to do is remove the rear bracket on the shifter. So that's that bolt there. And then there is one, it's kind of hard to focus, there we go. And there is one on the other side of the drive shaft as well. So you want to remove those two bolts there, and then you can remove that bracket. Alright, so we got those nuts off the rear bracket. Now we can try to maneuver this thing off. Hopefully I can keep the camera in focus. There we go. So we got the rear bracket off. Now the shifter's loose in there. And now we just have to get the side bolt off the front arm on the shifter. Alright, so now that we got that bolt out of the shifter arm, which was a nightmare to get to, by the way, the only thing that you pretty much have to do now is slide the shifter over, remove these two bolts here, which I already removed there, and then you slide it back over towards the driver's side, and then you can get to the other two bolts on the other side. That's not too bad to get to. And then from here, you can start separating the shifter and then take it out piece by piece. And it's a little difficult to film down here, so I'm going to go ahead, and the next scene is going to be once we have everything done underneath the car, and we'll be back working inside the car. But actually, while we're down here real quick, we are going to change this trans fluid. Good time to do it while we're getting the shifter install done. Yep, and that stuff's pretty black. So we're going to get this fluid drained, put some new fluid in it, and then we'll finish up on the shifter install. Alright, so we got the tranny fluid swapped, got the stock shifter out, and now we got the MGW shifter body prepped and ready to go in. Alright guys, so we had to just go ahead and skip ahead a few hours. The install is done. And like I said, this was never really meant to be like a step-by-step install video. More just like a review and kind of share the install with you guys. Alright, so if you remember earlier in the video, we kind of showed you the amount of play that was in the stock shifter. So like when you tap it, it don't really move, whereas the stock shifter, that's pretty much all the play that you have. And that was in gear, so that's neutral. Second, third. I mean, you could just see, look at the centering spring strength there. So yeah, big improvement. The play, but that's in second, going to third. If you remember how sloppy that stock shifter was, and the throw is super short, that's real nice. So we're going to take it for a little ride, make sure everything's good to go before we give it back to the owner. But other than that, I'd call it a successful install and definitely a huge improvement over stock. Alright guys, so we're just going to do a quick little drive, make sure everything's good before we give it back to the owner. Make sure everything's going into all the gears good. Yeah, I definitely got to get one of these for the 350. It's going to make a huge difference on track. Any of you track guys, I mean, this is a must-have mod. The way it mounts to the transmission. Anytime you're on track experiencing like heavy lateral G's, a lot of times you'll miss like third gear, for example, because the shifter actually moves with the body of the car. But yeah, there's second gear, so third gear, the centering spring's so strong you don't even have to direct it towards third gear, you could just push it up. And I've actually spoken to George at MGW back in Mustang Week, and he pretty much told me with mod for any of you manual guys, drag racing or track guys. And I think we can call it a successful install. It goes into all the gears good, goes into reverse. And like I said, I definitely want to get one of these for the 350. So that's going to pretty much wrap it up for this video, guys. Just kind of wanted to share the install with you and share my old car with you guys. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, please do so. Like I said, we have the 2017 350R we do a lot of track stuff with. And we also have a 2018 Mustang GT with nitrous. So we're going to be doing a lot of stuff this year with both of those cars. So make sure to subscribe and follow along, guys, and thanks for watching.